So I'm going to read this from Srila Prabhupada, and it's quite well known and famous on the first LP record that Prabhupada recorded. And it's like given in many books, including the Topmost Yoga System and the Science of Civilization. It's transcribed and given in a lecture form. And in part of that, in one beautiful paragraph, Srila Prabhupada says that, these three words, namely Hare, Hara, Krishna, and Rama, are the transcendental seeds of the maha-mantra. The chanting is a spiritual call for the Lord and his energy to give protection to the conditioned soul. This chanting is exactly like the genuine cry, of a child for its mother's presence. So Mother Hara helps the devotee achieve the Lord Father's grace, and the Lord reveals himself to the devotee who chants this mantra sincerely. Of course, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now I'm going to elaborate a little bit more on this. And besides that, I would like to give a disclaimer here that my elaboration may be limited. At the same time, it may not be exclusively my realization for whatever it's worth, but still I'll attempt to explain. Okay. Now, we know that the genuine cry of a child for its mother's presence is not really how Srila Prabhupada has instructed and taught us to chant Japa, especially the Hare Krishna maha-mantra. See? Srila Prabhupada instructed us that when we chant the Hare Krishna maha-mantra, when we chant in a kirtana, we have to hear, simply hear, Prabhupada says. Chant and simply hear. However, here, Srila Prabhupada says that the chanting is exactly like the genuine cry of a child for its mother's presence. Now, this is very deep and very realized sort of level of chanting. The initialization of the chanting in sadhana bhakti or devotional service and practice is that we must chant and simply hear. That means chant attentively by hearing your own chanting, especially in Japa. But this particular, you could say, analogy given by Srila Prabhupada, that the chanting must be exactly like the genuine cry of a child for its mother's presence. So it's like saying that the child already has a relationship with the mother. You don't have to ask the child, who is your mother? In other words, that's already a given, that the child knows the identity of its mother. So therefore, the genuine cry of a child for its mother means the relationship is already established, that the child knows the identity of the mother, and there's a natural relationship in that. So here we see a difference, that when one chants in the formative stages of chanting Japa, one is trying to hear the maha-mantra. That means one is actually trying to sort of realize that that Radharani is my mother, from the word Hara in the vocative that is given in the Hare Krishna maha-mantra as the word Hare. And then the mother will introduce us to the father and serve the father. Yeah. But it's very deep because one has to actually realize that Radharani is our mother, and Krishna is our Supreme Father. One has to actually realize that for this chanting to be like a genuine cry of a child for its mother's presence, because it already identifies who the mother is to cry. See? Whereas in the formative stage of chanting the Hare Krishna maha-mantra, we chant and we try to hear, which is good. But here, when the child cries for the mother's presence, the crying out of the child is for the mother to hear that I am crying out for you. Where are you? You know, Ma, Mama, Mata, where are you? So what this indicates, in the very internal stages of chanting Japa, when the child is crying in a genuine way for the mother's presence, that indicates when we chant Japa, we have to cry out for Radharani to hear our chanting, because she is Hara. In the vocative, in the Hare Krishna mantra, she is called Hare, and then Krishna, who introduces us to Krishna. So when Srila Prabhupada says this, it's a very deep thing. So therefore, it's very deep. It's very deep because when the child is crying out for the mother's presence, the child is crying for the mother to hear the crying. So it's implicit or automatically the child is hearing the crying, his own crying, but doesn't know it's hearing its own crying. But because the child is crying out for the mother, Mata, Ma, you know, where are you? I'm desperate. I need your protection and care. See? Now, when the mother comes in the presence of the child after hearing the child crying, then the child may, you know, in an affectionate way, may even become a little bit angry with the mother. You know, where are you? I was crying out for so many hours. You didn't come. Where were you? You know, practically out of affection, telling the mother, why didn't you come earlier? You know, I was desperate. I was lost. I was helpless. You know, you didn't come earlier and you made me feel like that for so long. The child may tell the mother that. Then the mother may say, yes, I heard your crying. Then the child will realize that when I was crying out for the mother, my mother heard my crying, but that means I also was hearing my own crying for my mother, but unaware of it at that time. Unaware of it at that time. So it's such a very beautiful analogy that the chanting of our japa is a spiritual call, not just for Krishna, but and his energy for protection, for care, and for affection. And therefore, when our chanting of japa becomes exactly like a genuine cry of a child for its mother, then one does not need to hear one's own japa. One is crying out for Radharani to hear. Please come and take me to Krishna. Please come and take me to, serve Krishna in that way. Because Hara, which means Hare, which means Srimati Radharani. So we are not saying that one should imitate this. One should still continue in one's sadhana and practice in devotional service. When one chants the japa, one should actually try to hear the japa. But there'll come a stage in one's japa where, just like a genuine cry of a child for its mother's presence, that you are not knowing that you are hearing your own japa because you are crying out for Radharani to hear you, to introduce you, or to engage you in Krishna's service. So that is not a conclusion, but it's just how wonderful that this analogy given by Srila Prabhupada, a genuine cry of a child for its mother. In a beautiful lecture on Nishinga Chaturdasi on May 27th in 1972 in Los Angeles, Srila Prabhupada, and I'm reading, Srila Prabhupada beautifully says, actually, we are hankering after Krishna. but we do not know. We are trying to satisfy our hankering in so many ways, in material, and in the words are indistinct in the tape. Yeah. Then Prabhupada says, just like a small child, it is crying, it cannot express, but it is wanting the mother's breastfeeding. So you cannot stop him crying unless it is transferred to the mother. Similarly, actually, we love Krishna. That is a fact. Because we love Krishna. Just like how the child is crying out, for the mother. Genuine cry of a child for its mother's presence. Similarly, we love Krishna. And we're crying out to Radharani. We're crying out to the Rani. Please, we love Krishna. Take us to Krishna. Let us serve Krishna eternally.
The question I really wanted to ask is, you said Radharani is our eternal mother. And you also explained about how we should cry out to Radharani in such a way that she hears us, so that she can take us back. So as a practical person or a materialistic person, I would ask you for how we can cry out like that purely to Radharani, because we do chant, but it's not always pure. So it's very, our concentration is not pure. So how can we make that cry very to be heard by Radharani? Hare Krishna Maharaj.
It's a very practical and a very deep and a very wonderful question. I appreciate your question. Now, I wanted to say more during the class, and I thought this question may come up, and thank you for that. Yes. Now, in the spiritual nature, there are three principal energies that make everything happen. See? So one is called a samvit potency, which is a knowledge-giving potency. And the presiding deity for the samvit potency is the spiritual master, both Vashiksha and Diksha Guru. Right? Then in the spiritual nature, there is the Sandini potency. Sandini potency means existential potency, or that which makes everything eternally exist. Yeah. And the presiding deity for the Sandini potency is Balaram. See? So knowledge-giving potency, eternality potency, and then you get the Ladini Shakti. The Ladini Shakti is the pleasure-giving potency. And the presiding deity for the pleasure-giving potency is Srimati Radharani. See? So now when we chant prayers in the morning in Shishi Guruva Astaka at Mangalati, we chant Shri Radhikama Davayorapara Madhurya Lila Guna Rupanam Pratik Sanasva Dhanalolopasya Vande Guru Shri Charana Ravindam. So the Ladini Shakti, who is actually the potency of Srimati Radharani, it enters into the hearts of the previous acharyas in the disciplic succession, and it enters into the heart of one's spiritual masters. That means both Shiksha Gurus and Diksha Gurus. So at times, one may have a more closer relationship with one's Shiksha Gurus, and at other times, one may have one's closer relationship with the Diksha Guru. So whoever one is close with, so if one needs, you could say, help, one needs care, one needs protection, one is not going to directly reach out to Srimati Radharani because it may be too far or too remote for that. But one reaches out to the representative of Srimati Radharani, who has the Ladini Shakti in one's heart, which is one's Diksha and Shiksha gurus. So when one cries out for protection and care to one's Diksha or Shiksha gurus, or even to one's devotee friend, maybe that's even closest too, then that is automatically representing Srimati Radharani in that way. So that's practical. And therefore, the best example of a mother that knows how to serve and love Krishna the best is Srimati Radharani herself. Srimati Radharani herself. Therefore, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And the word Hare is 8 times. And the word Krishna is 4 times. But Rama is also another name of Krishna that gives us, that plunges us into a reservoir of eternal pleasure. But still, the mother's name is there, Hare, 8 times. So Radharani is the best. Srimati Radharani is the best example of how a mother can be to always engage us in the Supreme Father's service. Hare Krishna.
The 3 words, namely Hara, Krishna and Rama, are transcendental seeds of the maha-mantra, and the chanting is spiritual call for the Lord and his internal energy Hara for giving protection to the conditioned soul. The chanting is exactly like genuine cry by the child for mother. Mother Hara helps in achieving the grace of the Supreme Father Hare or Krishna, and the Lord reveals himself to such sincere devotee. No other means, therefore, of spiritual realization is as effective in this age as chanting the maha-mantra Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.